Hey everyone, welcome back to Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast. I'm your host Ed, and I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. If this is your first time joining us, I hope you enjoyed tonight's journey into one of the most famous and perhaps one of the most terrifying urban legends ever created. Tonight we're talking about Bloody Mary. It's a name almost everyone has heard at some point in their lives. Maybe someone dared you to try it during a sleepover. Maybe you stood in front of the bathroom mirror with the lights off and a flashlight in your hand, wondering if you had the courage to say her name 3 times. For most people, it was just a childhood game. But for others, they swear it wasn't. Tonight we're going beyond the schoolyard stories. We'll explore where the Bloody Mary legend may have come from, why mirrors have frightened people for thousands of years, the strange experiences people claim to have had, and several other mirror rituals from around the world that are said to summon spirits or open doors to something unknown. So dim the lights, settle in, and let's step carefully into the world behind the glass. Before we can understand the legend of Bloody Mary, we first have to understand humanity's fascination with mirrors. Today, a mirror is just another household object. We use one to brush our hair, shave, put on makeup, or check our appearance before heading out the door. But for thousands of years, mirrors weren't seen as ordinary objects. Ancient civilizations believed mirrors possessed supernatural qualities. Some cultures believed a mirror reflected not only your physical appearance, but your soul. Others believed mirrors acted as portals between one world and the spirit world. Even today, you'll find traditions where mirrors are covered after someone dies. Some families believe that leaving mirrors uncovered allows the spirit of the deceased to become trapped inside them. Others believe wandering spirits may enter the room of the home through a mirror during times of grief. Whether those beliefs are true or not, it's remarkable how many cultures separated by oceans and centuries shared similar ideas about reflective surfaces. That raises an interesting question. Why mirrors? What is it about seeing ourselves reflected in glass that has inspired so many ghost stories, superstitions, and urban legends? Perhaps it's because a mirror shows us something familiar, yet just different enough to make us uncomfortable. And that's exactly where the legend of Bloody Mary begins. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding Bloody Mary is that no one knows exactly who she was or if she ever existed at all. Some historians believe the legend was inspired by Queen Mary, I of England. Often remembered by the nickname Bloody Mary, because of the persecution and execution of hundreds of Protestants during her reign in the 1500s. Others argue there's no evidence connecting England's queen to mirror rituals, and that the similarity in names is simply coincidence. Another popular theory centers around a mysterious woman named Mary Worth. Depending on where you grew up, Mary Worth may have been described as a witch, executed by angry villagers, a young woman murdered before her wedding, a grieving mother driven mad by tragedy, or a woman whose face was horribly disfigured. Every version tells a different story, but every version ends the same way. Her spirit is said to live within the mirror, waiting for someone to call her name. And that's where one of the world's most famous rituals begin. Now, that we've explored where the legend may have come from, let's talk about the ritual itself. One of the fascinating things about Bloody Mary is that there isn't one single correct way to summon her. Ask 10 different people how they learned the ritual, and you'll probably hear 10 different versions. The most common version is simple. Stand alone in front of the mirror. Turn off every light in the room. Light a single candle. Look directly into your own reflection and slowly say Bloody Mary 3 times. Some versions say 5 times. Others insist 13 is the magic number. Some people believe you have to spin around 3 times before looking into the mirror. Others claim the ritual only works between midnight and 3 o'clock in the morning, the time often called the witching hour. There are even versions where you're supposed to splash water on the mirror first, while others say you should hold the candle beneath your chin to cast an eerie shadow across your face. It's interesting that the details change so much, yet the central idea remains exactly the same: a dark room, a mirror, a name repeated aloud, and the hope or perhaps the fear that something will answer. So what is supposed to happen? According to the legend, after repeating her name, Bloody Mary appears inside the mirror. Descriptions vary dramatically. Some people claim she's covered in blood. Others describe her as an old woman with long black hair hanging over her face. Some say her eyes are empty, black sockets. Others claim her face is horribly burned or scarred. In some stories, one simply stares back in silence. In others, she screams. And in the most frightening versions, she's said to reach through the mirror itself. Some legends claim she scratches those who summon her. Others say she curses them with terrible luck. There are even stories claiming she drags people into the mirror, trapping them forever on the other side. Of course, there has never been any verified evidence that this has ever happened. But that hasn't stopped the legend from spreading for generations. For decades, Bloody Mary has become almost a rite of passage. Sleepovers, summer camps, school trips. Almost everyone knows someone who claims to know someone who tried it. Maybe you've heard stories like these. A group of teenagers gathers in a bathroom late at night. They laugh, they joke. Nobody really believes anything will happen. Someone finally agrees to say the name. The room becomes strangely quiet. The candle flickers. One person suddenly gasps. Another starts crying. Someone screams. The lights come on. Everyone runs out of the room. By the next morning, the story has grown. It wasn't just the candle. I saw someone behind me. I heard breathing. I felt someone touch my shoulder. Whether those experiences were real or imagined, they become another chapter in the Bloody Mary legend. One of the most commonly repeated stories tells of a young girl attending a birthday sleepover. Late that night, the girls decided to play Bloody Mary. They locked themselves inside the bathroom and lit a candle. One by one, they repeated the name. Nothing happened. The girls laughed, thinking it was all a joke. One of them leaned closer to the mirror and shouted the name several more times. Suddenly, the candle went out. The bathroom was completely dark. Panic filled the room. The girls screamed and rushed for the door. When the lights finally came back on, the girl who had spouted and shouted the name reportedly had several long scratches running across one side of her face. Were the scratches caused by her own fingernails during the panic? Did someone accidentally scratch her while everyone was trying to escape? Or did something else happen inside that bathroom? No one knows. Stories like this exist all over the world. Some people claim mirrors fogged over for no reason. Others say they saw someone standing behind them, only to discover the room was empty when they turned around. Some claim they heard whispering. Others describe seeing faces that weren't their own, staring back from the glass. The internet is filled with first-hand accounts from people who insist they experienced something terrifying. Of course, not every story is true. Some are almost certainly exaggerated. Some were invented simply to scare friends. But when thousands of people from different places tell remarkably similar stories, it's understandable why the legend continues to capture our imagination. Now let's talk about what science has to say. Believe it or not, researchers have actually studied what happens when people stare into a mirror in dim lighting. After several minutes, your brain begins filling in missing visual information. Your facial features appear to shift, your eyes may seem darker, your smile can disappear, your reflection may begin looking like someone else entirely. Psychologists call this the strange face illusion. It's a documented phenomenon caused by the way our brains process visual information under low light conditions. In other words, your eyes aren't necessarily lying to you. Your brain is simply interpreting incomplete information in unusual ways. But that doesn't explain every story. But it does explain why so many people report seeing faces morph, shadows moving, or unfamiliar figures appearing in mirrors after staring for long periods. Still, science doesn't answer every question. Why do so many cultures believe mirrors can act as portals? Why have mirrors been linked to ghosts for thousands of years? And why do so many people report the same unsettling feeling, that they're no longer alone, even when the room is completely empty? We're going to leave Bloody Mary behind for a moment and explore several other mirror rituals from around the world that some people believe are even more dangerous. We'll talk about the Three Kings ritual, strange midnight mirror ceremonies, and chilling stories from people who claim they invited something into their homes and it never truly left. So far tonight, we've explored the legend of Bloody Mary, the history behind the name, and why mirrors have been feared throughout history. Now it's time to move beyond Bloody Mary and into a world of lesser-known mirror rituals. While Bloody Mary may be the most famous, she's far from the only legend involving reflective glass. Some of these rituals are so unsettling that many people refuse to even read the instructions, let alone try them. Whether you believe they're supernatural or simply modern folklore, one thing is certain: they've captured the imagination of thousands of people around the world. Let's begin with the most talked about rituals on the internet, the Three Kings ritual. The Three Kings ritual first gained popularity online in the early 2010s. According to the stories, it's not just a game, it's supposedly a way to communicate with another version of yourself, or even another dimension. The ritual requires a large room, 3 chairs, 2 mirrors, candles, and an alarm clock set for around 3:30 in the morning. The instructions are incredibly specific. The mirrors must be positioned at precise angles, the candles placed just right, and you're instructed not to look directly into the mirrors for too long. Those who claim to have completed the ritual say they experience whispers, unexplained shadows, or the feeling that someone else was sitting in the empty chairs beside them. Some even claim they had conversations with figures they couldn't fully see. Others say they woke up the next morning with no memory of what happened after sitting down. Is any of this true? There's no evidence proving it is, but the stories continue to spread. Another strange ritual is sometimes called the Devil's Face game. This legend has existed in different forms for generations. The instructions are simple. Stand in front of the mirror in complete darkness, light a single candle, stare into your own eyes without looking away. Eventually, according to the legend, your reflection begins changing. Some people say you'll see your own face grow old. Others claim you'll see a demon. Some insist you'll witness the face of the devil himself. Scientists once again point to the strange face illusion we discussed earlier. But believers argue that the illusion is only the beginning. They believe prolonged mirror gazing weakens the barrier between worlds. Then there's the ritual known simply as mirror scrying. Unlike Bloody Mary, mirror scrying isn't always viewed as dangerous. In fact, it's an ancient practice dating back thousands of years. Instead of trying to summon ghosts, practitioners stare into a darkened mirror in hopes of receiving visions. Some claim they see future events. Others report messages from deceased loved ones. Throughout history, kings, queens, and mystics have reportedly consulted reflective surfaces while seeking guidance. Whether these visions came from the subconscious mind or something beyond our understanding is still debated today. Of course, no discussion about mirror legends would be complete without mentioning one of the most common superstitions in the world: breaking a mirror. Most people have heard that breaking a mirror brings 7 years of bad luck. But where did that belief come from? The superstition dates back to ancient Rome. Romans believed a person's soul renewed itself every 7 years. And if a mirror reflected your soul, and then it shattered, they believed your soul would remain damaged until that 7-year cycle was complete. Even today, many people feel uneasy after breaking a mirror. Some immediately throw salt over their shoulder. Others bury the broken pieces. Some refuse to keep the shattered glass inside their home. It's amazing how a superstition that's nearly 2,000 years old still survives today. There are also traditions that tell people never to place two mirrors directly across from each other. Some believe that doing that creates an endless spiritual hallway, a passageway that allows spirits to move freely between worlds. Interior designers often avoid placing mirrors directly opposite each other simply because of the visual effect. But paranormal investigators sometimes avoid it for an entirely different reason. They believe it creates a kind of energetic tunnel. Again, there's no scientific evidence supporting that belief, but it is very true. I do believe this. But it's another example of how deeply mirrors are connected to paranormal folklore. One of the most unsettling beliefs involves mirrors inside bedrooms. Many cultures discourage sleeping with a mirror facing your bed. Some believe your spirit partially leaves your body during sleep. If a mirror reflects you while you're sleeping, it may confuse your spirit when it returns. Others claim mirrors attract unwanted entities during invulnerable moments. Whether you believe those stories or not, it's surprising how many cultures around the world share nearly identical warnings despite having no connection to one another. As I researched tonight's episode, I found dozens of personal accounts from people who insist mirrors have shown them things that shouldn't have been there. Someone standing behind them, a child peeking around the doorway, a face smiling when they weren't smiling, a figure disappearing the instant they turned around. Now, it's important to remember that personal experiences aren't proof. Fear, stress, lighting, and the incredible power of the human mind can explain many unusual experiences. But every once in a while, there's a story that leaves you wondering, what if, just once, someone really did see something they couldn't explain? That question is one of the reasons urban legends never truly die. Each generation adds new stories, new witnesses, new warnings, and somewhere tonight someone is probably standing in front of a mirror with a candle in their hand, wondering whether they should say a certain name or whether it's better left unsaid. We're now going to examine why these legends continue to survive what psychologically has taught us about fear, and I'll leave you with one final question. When you look into a mirror, are you always looking only at yourself? As we come to the end of tonight's episode, I want to leave you with the final thought. Whether you believe in ghosts, spirits, demons, or nothing, which I believe in all of these, paranormal at all, there's one thing we can all agree on. Fear is incredibly powerful. Sometimes fear protects us. Sometimes it tricks us. And sometimes it makes us question everything we think we know. Urban legends like Bloody Mary have survived for generations because they tap into something deeply human. We all wonder what might exist just beyond our understanding. We all wonder if there are places we're not meant to go, or doors we're not meant to open. A mirror seems harmless. It's something we pass every day without giving it a second thought. And when the lights go out, when you're all alone, when the room is silent, that same mirror suddenly feels very different. Maybe it's because you're forced to look directly at yourself. Or maybe it's because your mind begins filling the darkness with possibilities. Either way, mirrors have earned their place in folklore all over the world. Let's take a step back and look at everything we've covered tonight. We've talked about the legend of Bloody Mary and how no one truly knows where the story began. We explored many different versions of the ritual and the frightening encounters people claim to have experienced. We looked at the Three Kings ritual, mirror scrying, the devil's face game, and the centuries-old belief that mirrors can act as gateways between our world and another. We also discussed the scientific side of these experiences. Researchers have shown that prolonged mirror gazing in low light can cause visual distortions. Our brains are incredibly good at recognizing faces, even when there isn't actually a face there. Shadows, reflections, and expectation can combine to create experiences that feel absolutely real. That doesn't necessarily mean the paranormal is involved, but also doesn't explain every story, and it does not explain the paranormal away. Throughout history, people from completely different cultures, many of whom never had contact with one another developed remarkably similar beliefs about mirrors. That alone is fascinating. As someone who enjoys researching the paranormal, I think it's important to approach these stories with an open mind. Believing every story without question isn't a good idea. But dismissing every experience simply because we can't explain it may not be the best approach either. The truth often lies somewhere in the middle. Some stories are undoubtedly hoaxes, some experiences are psychological, some are coincidences, and then there are the stories that refuse to fit nearly into any category. Those are the ones that keep researchers asking questions. So, would I recommend trying Bloody Mary ritual? Personally, no. Not because I believe a ghost will crawl out of the mirror and kill you, but because intentionally trying to frighten yourself in a dark room can have unexpected effects on your mind. Even if nothing paranormal happens, your imagination is more than capable of creating an experience you'll never forget. And if you do decide to try one of these rituals, do it safely. Don't damage property, don't put yourself or anyone else in danger. And remember that urban legends are stories meant to entertain, provoke curiosity, and sometimes teach a lesson. Before I wrap things up, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever tried the Bloody Mary ritual? Have you experienced something strange while looking into a mirror? Would you like me to try the Bloody Mary ritual and record it and post it? Maybe you've seen something you still can't explain. Or maybe you think it's all nothing more than psychological and folklore. Either way, I'd love to hear your story. You can reach out through the Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast social media pages or wherever you follow the show. Your story might even be featured in a future listener episode, which I do a lot of those. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, please take a moment to follow the podcast, leave a rating or review, and share it to someone who loves the strange, the mysterious, and the unexplained as much as I do and you do. Every share and every review helps the show grow, and I truly appreciate every single one of you who spends your time listening. Next time on Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast, we will dive into another chilling mystery, another haunted location, or another urban legend that has left people asking one question. Was it fact? Was it fiction? Or was it something else? Till next time, keep questioning, keep searching, and if you find yourself standing alone in front of a mirror late tonight, you might think twice before saying anything at all. I'm Ed, and this has been the Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. I love each and every single one of you that come and listen to my episodes every night. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you do want to put a story out there, you want me to say your story, you can go to paranormalhelp937@gmail.com and send me an email there, or you can go to paranormalincohio.com, which will take us directly to our page, and you can message me from there. The Bloody Mary ritual is ancient, and I don't know if I'd try it. I think I would, just because I'm, curious. But again, I tell you, try not to try these things unless you're an experienced investigator. Know what you're doing. Do the research before you do it. Thank you guys so very much, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye, everyone.